Part 75. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 741. The Valley Master secretly sighed, now he can only make sneak attacks and cannot reveal any clues. Xianxia's strength is unfathomable. Even if she is at the same level as him, her cultivation methods are different and her strength is also different. Young fellow Taoist, you're welcome. We who practice medicine always follow the Master as our teacher. We have never dabbled in the Yaoang Valley above the Divine Soul, so I shamelessly came here and wanted to observe. Please forgive me. If you mind, little fellow Taoist, if so, I will naturally retreat. What the Valley Master said was half true and half false. What was said before is true. But as long as the evil thoughts say the word mind, he will take action immediately. If he avoids it and gets further away, the chance of a successful sneak attack will become smaller. When Xianxia heard this, her expression relaxed a little. She was afraid that the Valley Master would come and ruin the evil intention to save Xiao'er. Not only did she not expect that the Valley Master's words were so reasonable, but she also didn't expect that the evil thoughts just opened her mouth and refused. What was even more unexpected was that the Valley Master took action almost at the same time. Elder Yu, he is the tower spirit. The moment he took action, a ray of light as thin as a hair flashed instantly. The Valley Master was deeply afraid of Xianxia, and he shouted when he took action. Half of Valley Master's medical skills are based on acupuncture. He has been immersed in acupuncture for more than 1,000 years throughout his life. Although this needle is thin, it seems to tear through the space, passing straight through the evil thought's body, passing through the body. Xianxia exclaimed, it was already too late to take action. But in an instant, the pupils shrank. I saw that after the evil thought was hit by the Valley Master with all his strength, he was unscathed. Even at such a close distance, she could still see the pinholes on the evil thoughts. What's even more weird is that there is no blood flowing out of the needle, nor spiritual power, but a black energy. The black energy reveals an inexplicable power, which is different from spiritual power, and even more different from demonic spiritual power. Tolling. In the flash of lightning, Xianxia immediately chose to believe the Valley Master, Yaloo Palm. Ever since they entered the Demon Moon Forest, they had a deep fear of the Demon Refining Tower. Whether it's the array of Demon Moon Forest or the towering Demon Refining Tower. Xianxia's palm didn't retain any force at all and hit the evil thought directly. Bang! Evil thought's body, which was condensed with black energy, was shot to pieces and flew straight out. However, there was still no trace of blood flowing out. All that came out of the wound was black energy. It's a tower spirit, it's really a tower spirit. Everyone exclaimed, and no one needed to remind them anymore. The Yaloo demon sect and the nascent soul stagers of Yaoang Valley all took action at the same time. The white medical brilliance of Yaoang Valley and the Yaloo magic power of Yaloo demon sect are intertwined in black and white, all of which attack evil thoughts. Old guy, I didn't expect you to find out. After his evil thoughts were revealed and he was attacked by two nascent soul stages one after another, he simply stopped acting and disappeared in a flash. Countless attacks, all failed. He is not in the Danjing stage. He has the magical power of the demon saint. Everyone, be careful and protect Xiao'er. The Valley Master opened his 5 fingers, and 5 silver needles suddenly appeared between the 5 fingers, flying to Xiao'er's head with 5 white lights, in order to protect Xiao'er. You all go and protect Xiao'er. Xianxia didn't dare to neglect him. As soon as Taling came, he was directed at Xiao'er. Obviously Taling needed Xiao'er. As for the reason, we don't know yet. But Xiao'er now doesn't even have the power to protect herself. The old people in Yaoang Valley are all annoying guys. They are like this in heaven and earth, and they are like this in the mortal world. When I return to myself, I will definitely kill you without a place to bury you. The evil thoughts were so angry that when the figure flashed out from the other side, it turned into black energy. That means you haven't returned yet. The Valley Master sneered, stretched out his hand, and saw 5 more white lights. Almost at the same moment, everyone in Yaoang Valley also used all their spells to attack evil thoughts. Several elders of Yaloo demon sect also used Yaloo magic power one after another. Humph, if I don't want to save my strength, how can you, ants, want to ruin my good deeds? These nascent soul stage people are not easy to get along with. The evil thoughts have no chance to snatch Xiu'er, so they can only retreat temporarily. In an instant, the black energy disappeared without a trace. When he appeared again, he was already on the 9th floor of the demon refining tower. The volume of black energy has been reduced by more than half. Damn it, it's Yaoang Valley again, damn it. The evil thoughts kept roaring, and then retracted the black energy into the black ball. He didn't know where the problem was. But it doesn't matter anymore. Looking at Zhu Feng, he gritted his teeth with evil thoughts, but there was nothing he could do. The only person who can match him and allow him to quickly regain his strength after taking over his body is Zhu Feng, who has practiced the magic of swallowing demons. There was a violent fluctuation of spiritual power over there. Could it be that something happened? Is it Zhu Feng, or is it the demon saint's evil thoughts? A group of nascent souls came out with almost all their strength, without any suppression at all. Zhu Yun, who was flying over, felt it immediately. He was extremely anxious, but his speed had reached its extreme and he was unable to speed up anymore. By the way, isn't there a demon saint? His body is extremely fast. Zhu Yun racked his brains and finally found a way. Thinking of a Niao, he immediately stopped running and summoned him out of the immortal mansion. Boy Zhu Yun, what do you want from me? As soon as the figure appeared, a Niao immediately discovered that he was in the demon refining tower. After all 12 statues were destroyed, half of a bird's memory was restored. The other half is on the side of his evil thoughts. Senior Demon Saint, I'm on my way, but my speed is too slow, so I want to ask Senior for a favor and send me there. Zhu Yun said respectfully. Going there? A Niao's eyes flashed, and he stretched out his hand to point in the direction Zhu Yun was going, because he also felt the spiritual energy fluctuations coming from there. There was even an aura that was extremely annoying but familiar to him. Senior is awesome, I'm going there. Zhu Yun was overjoyed and began to flatter him. There was no other way, who asked him to ask A Niao for help. Let's go. A Niao didn't say much. He transformed into a golden rock, passed over Zhu Yun's body, and lifted him up with his back. Hurry up. As soon as A Niao said these 3 words, Zhu Yun felt a whoosh sound coming from his ears, and he was already several miles away. Quick, so fast, too fast. Zhu Yun muttered to himself. Zhu Yun, why did you come to the demon refining tower again? A Niao looked confused, and after struggling for a long time, he finally spoke. He had rescued Lao Jin and Lao Ma before, and was finally rescued by Zhu Yun, but Zhu Yun came to his door again. He was very puzzled. He had a heartfelt resistance to the demon refining tower. Although this tower is to suppress his evil thoughts. But after all, he has been trapped in this tower for who knows how many years. Senior, the demon refining tower may bring disaster to the world, so I have to come. Zhu Yun took a deep breath and said. The human world, the human world. A Niao also murmured twice and sighed. Zhu Yun's speed became faster, and Nangong Ting Feng, who came looking for him, was stunned for a moment. It's strange. Why did that kid suddenly become faster? Did he encounter any adventure in this tower? But didn't the ancestral tree outside say there is danger here? Could it be? He was in danger and was kidnapped. Thinking of this, Nangong Tingfen became a little nervous, so he used the power in his body crazily and sped up to chase after him. After a stick of incense, Zhu Yun's figure appeared above the heads of everyone in Yaoang Valley and Yaloo demon sect. There was a sudden black energy before, but now there was a sudden golden light, and it had an aura similar to evil thoughts, which really scared the group of nascent soul stage below. It wasn't until Zhu Yun fell down from above and stood firmly in front of everyone that he let out a long sigh of relief. Zhu Yun, why did you come in too? Yu Tangzi stepped forward and asked, and the others followed, but did not speak and stared at Zhu Yun. I followed you after I found out you were sucked in, but not at the same time, so after I came in, I was a little far away from you. Zhu Yun explained, and his eyes fell on Xiu involuntarily. At this moment, golden light flashed, and a Niao turned into a human form. The figure and appearance were exactly the same as the evil thoughts, so all the Yuanying stages took action almost at the same time. A gleam flashed in on Niao's eyes. He didn't know these nascent soul stages, and it was impossible for him to have any grudges. It seems that my evil thoughts are playing some tricks here. Not only that, but because of Niao's relationship, these nascent soul stagers even thought Zhu Yun was fake, and several people attacked Zhu Yun directly. Boom! In an instant, smoke and dust billowed, covering the two of them. The endless spiritual power was almost felt by the other two sects in the tower, the Demon Seal sect and the Devouring Demon sect. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 742. Fighting again. The movement on the first level made the evil thoughts who had just returned to the black ball immediately notice, those people are clearly in the same group. Could it be a conflict between the other two groups? I wonder if this is an opportunity to take advantage of. Thinking of evil thoughts like this, he could no longer hold back his thoughts, could not calm down and recover, and sent out a trace of strength to sense them. Suddenly, he froze. The half of the good thoughts are actually here? This can't be done. After discovering Niao, he immediately became panicked. The two thoughts collided. There were no monsters or statues in the demon refining tower, so they would inevitably merge into one again. And good thoughts are far more powerful than evil thoughts. When the time comes, evil thoughts will still be restricted by Niao. This is not what he wants to see. Unless, he immediately seizes the body and becomes a brand new individual. But Zhu Feng is still in the early stage of Yuanying, and Yuanying is not yet stable. What should we do? Evil thought took back his power and stared at Zhu Feng, who was immersed in cultivation. Even if I seize the body at this time, there are so many nascent soul stage in the tower, if they encounter it, they will have no chance of survival. The most hateful thing is that there is that boy Zhu Yun. He has the intention of killing Zhu Feng. No, I have to find a way to let Zhu Feng swallow up the power and stabilize the nascent soul. Let him take action too. This kid is so scheming and has deeper thoughts than me. Thinking of this, the evil thoughts once again used their strength to explore the entire first floor of the demon refining tower. Soon, he discovered a nascent soul stage who was alone. If he and Zhu Feng join forces, there is no chance that he will deceive her and then let Zhu Feng devour her. This is your last chance, don't miss it. Wish the wind, wake up, wish the wind, wake up. After making the decision, his evil thoughts immediately began to act. He began to pretend to be profound and called Zhu Feng. Taling, are you calling me? After all, the demon refining tower is still Zhu Feng's magic weapon, and evil thoughts can directly have a mental connection with him. Under the call of evil thoughts, Zhu Feng wakes up in the black pool. It's me. Zhu Feng, after you break through the nascent soul stage, I can wake up and reach the point where I can communicate with you through words. Really? That's great. I wish Feng didn't know why, and I'm overjoyed. Although he has a lot of thoughts and a wide range of knowledge, compared with the evil thoughts of the demon saint who has lived for countless years, He is still a baby. The stronger you are, the stronger I will be. Now, there is a nascent soul stage that is alone. If you can devour him, then your nascent soul will definitely be more stable. The evil thoughts came straight to the point and directly tempted Zhu Feng to take action. Unexpectedly, it was these words that made Zhu Feng feel a little vigilant in his heart. The demon refining tower has no thoughts of its own and is completely under his control. But at this time, the tower spirit actually taught him how to do things, which made Zhu Feng, who was already suspicious by nature, immediately calm down from his joy. When something goes wrong, there must be a monster. However, he did not show it, but found the location of the nascent soul stage through the demon refining tower. Nangong Ting Feng. He recognized it. She is alone, and she seems to be in a hurry. With your ability, you can definitely take her down. After swallowing her, your realm in the early Yuanying stage will be stable, and you can deal with the rest of the Yuanying stage. Maybe, you can reach the peak in the later stage in the tower. Zhu Feng did not respond, but felt it carefully again. Not only were dozens of nascent soul stagers discovered, but a Niao and Zuyun were also discovered. However, he didn't recognize a Niao because he had never seen evil thoughts transformed into human form. Unexpectedly, Zuyun entered the tower again. However, looking at his situation, it seems that something is not good. Feeling that Zuyun was being chased by a group of nascent souls, Zhu Feng suddenly laughed out loud with joy. But he also knows that Zuyun's methods are amazing. He has escaped from monks who are higher than him many times, which shows that his methods are average. However, this is good news for him now. I think Zhu Feng won't have a chance to come to the 9th floor for a while, so he can really deal with Nangong Ting Feng. You're right, the stronger I am, the stronger you are, and the stronger you are, the more you can help me. Zhu Feng remained calm. When he stood up and walked out of the black pool, his figure suddenly disappeared again. When he appeared again, he was already standing at the light door of the passage. Just wait here for my good news. As soon as the words fell, Zhu Feng's figure disappeared into the light and shadow. He was fully confident about Nangong Ting Feng. But a few days ago, because she blocked the Peeper Realm monks from coming, she trapped all the Yuanying realms in the scroll, which consumed a lot of money. He just needs to confuse her and find an opportunity to sneak attack. In the nascent soul stage, it's not like I haven't swallowed it before, or I don't know if this tower spirit has its own ideas. Zhu Feng's eyes flashed, passing through one light door after another, and finally came to the 1st floor. And Nangong Ting Feng is not far from here. Almost at the same time, the devouring demon sect also ran towards the direction where the noise came from. As for the Nangong family and others, Nangong Yin can determine Xiu'er's location, and they can arrive in an hour at most. Xiu'er's location is in the same direction as where the noise came from. I hope nothing happens. Nangong Yin couldn't help but feel a little nervous. The supreme elders behind him also looked solemn. Nangong Xiu is the most gifted disciple of their Nangong family. She is the hope of their Nangong family and even the Demon Seal sect. It is impossible to let her get into trouble. At this time, Zuyun sat on the back of a Niao with a dusty face, and was chased by a group of Yuanying stage behind him. He was helpless and had no way to fight back. A Niao was even more frustrated. As a demon saint, he couldn't fight back in the demon refining tower. It was too uncomfortable. If it weren't for Zuyun, he would have run away long ago. Senior Yu, it's me. Valley Master, I'm Zuyun. Senior Luo, did you recognize the wrong person? No matter how Zuyun shouted, these people didn't stop. They thought that a Niao was the evil thought. Having seen the evil thought turn into black gas with their own eyes, could the black gas also turn into two people? It was with this idea that these Yuanyings chased after him relentlessly. In addition to Luo Yanran and several other Yuanying stage warriors with weaker realms who were protecting Xiu'er, there were more than 20 people chasing Zuyun and Aniao and bombarding them. Senior, what should we do? Are these people bewitched by your evil thoughts? The wind was too loud in his ears, and Zuyun shouted at the top of his voice. How should I know? Aniao was also helpless, and said, you are not close to these Yuanying stage warriors, right? Otherwise, you can find someone familiar and tell them the news that the evil thoughts cannot know, so as to prove it. Hearing this, Zuyun's heart suddenly tightened. Yes, why didn't I think of it? Demon Saint, go over there quickly. He was referring to Xiu'er's position. Aniao turned around immediately, and in just a moment, he had flown to a place not far from Luoranyan. Zuyun gathered the energy in his dantian and roared with the power of chaos, Senior Luo, I am Zuyun. In the secret realm of Zilang Peak, you said that you would marry Mengwei to me. As soon as these words came out, Luo Yanran stood up suddenly. After a moment of daze, she also roared, he is Zuyun, the real Zuyun. Instantly, everyone stopped. However, these people stared at Zuyun with unfriendly faces. It seemed that if Zuyun made a little movement, they would attack again. Are you really Zuyun? After the smoke and dust cleared and the surroundings returned to calm, Luo Yanran asked. I am really Zuyun, otherwise how can I know such a long ago thing? Zuyun couldn't help but smile bitterly. Luo Yanran asked again, okay, then tell me, who was I imprisoned with in that secret realm? Wanjianren. Hearing these 3 words that he had almost forgotten, Luo Yanran now completely believed it. However, she rolled her eyes and said, then tell me, how does Mengwei treat you? Zuyun didn't understand what he meant, and thought Luo Yanran was still asking for confirmation, so he said truthfully, Mengwei can sacrifice his life for me. What about you? Zuyun's eyes became firm, and then he said, for her, I can also sacrifice my life. After the words fell, Xiu'er, who was lying at Luo Yanran's feet, suddenly opened her eyes and stood up abruptly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 743. Xiu'er, are you awake? Yu Dangzi's reaction was so sharp that he shouted happily. Even Luo Yanran, who was talking nonsense, looked over. Zuyun breathed a long sigh of relief. This is good news, which can at least ease the tense atmosphere at this time. But at this time, Aniao whispered behind Zuyun, come here, I have something to tell you. Zuyun was slightly startled, Senior, this. Hurry up, it's about the demon refining tower. Hearing this, Zuyun immediately frowned and followed Aniao to the side without saying anything to anyone. Zuyun, if evil thoughts and I come together, they will definitely merge. Who will dominate this body at that time is unknown. Zuyun was startled and said, Senior, logically speaking, evil thoughts are suppressed longer and weaker. You are right, but if the evil thoughts want to seize the body and wish the wind, you must be prepared. Furthermore, this tower also suppresses me, and I can't use any magical powers at all. Otherwise, why didn't I help you stop it before? These nascent souls are chasing me, and let them chase me. Zuyun was dumbfounded, and then he remembered that Aniao had been leading him around in circles. Then what should I do? Aniao said, just do what you have to do. No matter how strong the evil thoughts are, they will never reach the nascent soul stage at most. And as far as I know, he may not even reach the nascent soul stage. Otherwise, he would have taken possession of his body long ago. Zhu Feng. Now, he relies more on Zhu Feng's relationship to use some of the abilities of the demon refining tower. But if he succeeds in seizing the body, his strength will increase exponentially. Zhu Yun asked in shock, then what you mean is to kill Zhu Feng as soon as possible so that he cannot succeed in seizing the body. That's right. A Niao's expression also became serious, and he said, Zhu Yun, I know Zhu Feng is your brother, but all the people in the world, the human race in the world. Senior, I know, I understand. Zhu Yun's face flashed with heaviness, he nodded and said. Then I'm relieved. Niao flashed a look of relief and said, now, take me back. Evil thoughts can sense my position, so your whereabouts cannot be hidden. Zhu Yun looked back and found that those nascent souls had not noticed him, which saved him a lot of trouble. After putting away the bird, Zhu Yun walked into the crowd again. Xiu'er, how do you feel? Zhu Yun asked. Much better. Xiu'er lowered her head and responded. Everyone then looked up at Zhu Yun and found that a Niao was missing. Yu Tangzi asked, where is that demon king from before? The one who can transform is at least the demon king. But only the Valley Master looked at Zhu Yun with deep meaning. He left. I met him by chance in the tower. I was anxious to find you. He said he flew very fast, so he brought me here. There are loopholes in this explanation, but it still makes sense. But since it is certain that Zhu Yun is not a trick of evil thoughts, they naturally will not delve too much into it. And now that they are reunited and Xiu'er has woken up, they can go find Zhu Feng. You guys come with me. On the way here, Zhu Yun had determined the direction. The entrance and exit of the second level were thousands of miles away to the north. They needed to get there as soon as possible. At the same time, Nangong Yin and others also joined them, and Ma Tai also led everyone towards the location where they were fighting. Only Zhu Feng, thinking of finding his prey as soon as possible, passed through the light doors one after another and came to the first floor. His goal is only Nangong Tingfeng. But he didn't know at all that Nangong Tingfeng already knew Zhu Feng's identity from Zhu Shi's mouth, and even knew that Zhu Yun wanted to kill Zhu Feng and thereby destroy the tower spirit. However, Nangong Tingfeng never thought that before he met Zhu Yun, he would meet Zhu Feng head-on. Just as Nangong Tingfeng was rushing on her way, she noticed a breath coming from behind and rushed towards her. Nangong Tingfeng stopped when he discovered that the other party was only in the early stage of nascent soul. Fairy, please stay. With a harmless expression on his face, Zhu Feng smiled and shouted to Nangong Tingfeng. What's the matter? Nangong Tingfeng didn't know Zhu Feng, and Zhu Feng's body revealed the unique aura of the devouring demon sect, so he thought he was an ordinary monk who had separated from the devouring demon sect. Fairy, I accidentally entered this tower. I don't know what the mystery of this tower is, so I want to go with the fairy. If we encounter danger, we can take care of each other. Zhu Feng said this perfectly. But by chance, Nangong Tingfeng discovered the clue. I learned from Zhu Shi that people from the devouring demon sect all entered at the same time. Will the dignified nascent soul be lost? She absolutely doesn't believe it. At the same time, Zhu Feng said that he entered the tower by mistake, which was contrary to the purpose of the devouring demon sect coming to find Zhu Feng. Nangong Tingfeng was very thoughtful, and he guessed Zhu Feng's identity just by thinking about it. Why did Ma Tai accept Zhu Feng as his direct disciple? It's not because Zhu Feng happened to practice the magic devouring technique. So, will there be other people in this tower who can practice the magic of swallowing demons? Nangong Tingfeng felt happy. If Zhu Feng was killed, would that mean? Have all the problems here been solved? Thinking of this, Nangong Tingfeng took advantage of his plan and said with a relaxed smile, that's exactly what I meant. Where do fellow Taoists come from, what is their sect? The fairy is so nice to talk to, I'm so flattered. I happened to find a light door, but I didn't dare to go there alone. The fairy is kind-hearted, and I feel relieved. Why don't you and I go and have a look? Maybe we can still find something. Opportunity here. Nangong Tingfeng's heart suddenly became cold. What's the light gate? It must be a dangerous place, right? But since her own strength was much higher than that of his opponent, Nangong Tingfeng decided to go over and take a look. If there was a chance, she wouldn't mind killing Zhu Feng on the spot to avoid future troubles. Zhu Feng had no idea that Nangong Tingfeng had murderous intentions towards him. At this time, he thought that Nangong Tingfeng had been fooled by him after hearing Guangmen, and he was already ecstatic. After Nangong Tingfeng agreed, he seemed to regard the other party as the source of his spiritual power to stabilize the nascent soul. Fairy, please come with me, the light door is right there. Zhu Feng led Nangong Tingfeng along the way, but little did he know that in Nangong Tingfeng's eyes, Zhu Feng was also a dead person. But neither of them knew that there were three parties of people behind them, heading towards this place. According to my guess, Zhu Feng should be on the 9th floor of the Demon Refining Tower. Zhu Yun led the way and followed the people behind him talking about Zhu Feng. After learning that Zhu Feng was Zhu Yun's half-brother and had been resentful because of jealousy since he was a child, his face was filled with shock. This is something difficult for them to understand. Perhaps, it has a lot to do with the fact that they have been exposed to cultivation since birth. Relatively speaking, Luo Yanran didn't find it too strange. Among everyone present, she had lived in the Ya realm for a long time. If Meng Wei hadn't met her, he might still be immortal today. Zhu Yun, is there no other way besides killing? Luo Yanran came forward and asked. If you don't kill him and the tower spirit takes over his body, then the tower spirit will escape from the demon refining tower. What's even more terrifying is that he can also control the demon refining tower, at that time, not to mention what will happen in the mortal world in the future. However, at least we will most likely never be able to leave this tower. After hearing this, everyone was silent. After a long while, the Valley Master said, Zhu Yun, I'm in trouble for you. Zhu Yun smiled helplessly, there is nothing we can do about it. Zhu Feng has done many evil things. At that time, he even wanted to kill the master who taught him the way of swordsmanship. Based on this alone, I will teach him a lesson. Not to mention, he will never the wild sea swallowed me all the way, and I don't know how many evil things I did. When Zhu Feng talked about deceiving his master and destroying his ancestors, Zhu Yunke suddenly remembered that Sun Qiniang was still trapped in the heavenly painting scroll. He couldn't help but wonder in his heart, should he let Sun Qiniang deal with Zhu Feng in the end? After another long time, they finally saw the mountain where the light gate was located. As the saying goes, if you look up the mountain, you will be beaten to death. If you just see a short mountain, it means that the distance is at least 100 miles away. It's just ahead. There's something I need to tell you. Zhu Yun stopped, pointed at the looming black spot and said, the exit and the entrance to the 2nd floor are both on the mountain. I wonder if there are any seniors who want to exit this tower at this time. Yu Tangzi glanced at Luo Yanran, and then said, since I, the Yaluo demon sect, have agreed to help you solve the problem of the demon refining tower, I will naturally not retreat. The Valley Master also laughed and said, Zhu Yun, if I retreat at this time, then how can you help me go to Dongsheng realm? Both major forces have reasons not to retreat. But Zhu Yun turned to look at Xiu and said in a deep voice, Xiu has just woken up from a serious injury, and her strength is low. She shouldn't stay here. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzhuan Xianxia. Chapter 744. Everyone's eyes immediately fell on Xiu. Zhu Yun's words made sense. It was possible that Xiu would be the first to bear the brunt of danger. At the same time, they also witnessed the evil thoughts taking shape and preparing to attack Xiu. If it weren't for the Valley Master's quick reaction, not only would Xiu be in trouble, but they would even fight and fall into the trap of the tower spirit. That's right, Xiu should go back first. Yu Tangzi looked at Luo Yanran and said, Take her back to Yoluo City. Xiu had an accident before, and I think Nangongyin would definitely question her. Fortunately, Xiu is fine now. Elder Yu, I won't leave. Zuyun is only in the late stage of Jindan, why should he not leave and I should leave? Xiu said in a delicate voice. In terms of realm, Xiu is still at the peak of the late stage of Jindan, a little higher than Zuyun. But Zuyun said that her strength was low, which just gave her a reason to refute Zuyun. She didn't want to leave. Xiu, Luo Yanran flashed forward, grabbed Xiu's clothes, and whispered, Zuyun has great magical powers, and this time, if Zuyun is not here, who will lead the way into the tower and solve the problem? This is an impeccable reason, and Xiu also knows the truth. But she doesn't want to leave. After knowing that there is a female cultivator who can sacrifice her life for Zuyun, and Zuyun also admitted that he can sacrifice his life for her, Xiu has a comparison in her heart. My life was saved by Zuyun, so I can also give my life back to him. Whenever I encounter danger, although my Nangong Xiu is weak, I am not afraid of life and death. Xiu. At this time, Zuyun also persuaded, saying, I have come to this tower many times, and I have fought with Zufeng many times. I have means to protect myself, but if he attacks you, I have no way at all. I will die if I die. Xiu is never afraid of death. Xiu raised her head, her beautiful eyes, revealing a resolute look at Zuyun. Xiu, listen to senior sister. Look, senior sister is in the nascent soul stage, isn't she going to leave here? Luo Yanran pulled Xiu, but Xiu didn't listen to her at all. In desperation, Yu Tangzi took action. Xiu, be obedient. After saying that, she stretched out her hand and flicked her sleeves, and countless Yoluo magic powers were thrown out by her, forming a net of heaven and earth, and directly tied Xiu up. Elder Yu, I won't go out. Xiu shouted loudly, with endless grievances in her heart. Xiu, listen to senior sister. Before she finished speaking, a deep male voice came from afar. Have you, Yoluo demon sect, forgotten Xiu's identity? Nangong Yin. In his voice, there was endless anger and majesty. As the voice fell, Nangong Yin had already appeared in front of Xiu. He flipped his hand and a magic seal appeared in the void. The magic seal had a strange seal pattern, which suddenly dissolved and rushed towards the Yoluo net. Then, silently, the net of Yoluo disappeared without a trace. It was as if it had never appeared. Master Nangong, long time no see, you is polite. Yu Tangzi narrowed his eyes and stepped forward. Nangong Yin was very protective of his shortcomings. Yu Tangzi and he were from the same period, so they naturally knew each other. Nangong Yin stretched out his hand in the air and directly pulled Xiu to his side. He ignored Yu Tangzi's words, as if he didn't hear them at all. He looked up and down, except that he felt that Xiu's momentum was a little weak and her breathing was a little disordered. There was nothing wrong. Then he said to Xiu softly, Daughter, tell Dad, who bullied you? Who bullied Xiu? But Xiu couldn't help but look at Zuyun. Nangong Yin followed Xiu's gaze and saw that it was a cultivator in the Jindan period. A murderous intent suddenly appeared on his face. I, Nangong Yin, never bully people below the nascent soul stage. But you dare to bully my daughter, so I will make an exception today. Flipping his hand to form a seal, and then closing his hand to form another seal. Two magic seals blasted towards Zuyun one after another in a flash. Nangong Yin, you dare. Yu Tangzi was shocked, and when he was angry, he quickly reached out to intercept. Humph, Yu Tangzi, don't think that just because you have become a 20-year-old girl, I, Nangong Yin, am afraid of you. Nangong Yin roared angrily and slapped out another magic seal. Boom. The previous two magic seals were blocked by Yu Tangzi in a flash, and the strange patterns of the magic power and the magic seals continued to entangle, making a loud noise. Smoke and dust rose up, and no one saw Zuyun quickly escaped under the cover of the smoke and dust. Then, with cold sweat on his forehead, he appeared from the other side. Is this the true strength of the old-fashioned late nascent soul peak? If Yu Tangzi hadn't taken action at the critical moment, he would have died without a burial place. Zuyun was still in shock, and he began to reflect that he seemed to have really expanded recently. He thought that after killing a few peak late nascent souls, he could walk sideways in Yusha realm. Unexpectedly, he was severely taught a lesson by Xiu'er's father. Nangong Yin, none of us bullies Xiu'er. This Jindan kid saved Xiu'er's life. Yu Tangzi knew Nangong Yin, and blocked the attacking magic seals with every move, and at the same time, he had the energy to help Zuyun explain. At this moment, Zuyun realized that these old-fashioned peak late nascent souls were truly unfathomable. Dad, Zuyun didn't bully me, you misunderstood. The battle was earth-shattering, but in fact, only a few breaths had passed, and Xiu'er finally reacted and hurriedly helped to speak. No. Nangong Yin stopped immediately, withdrew from the battle, and in a blink of an eye, he was standing beside Xiu'er, looking concerned, and said, "Daughter, you must have fallen in love with that boy, right? You must not just like your sister, she was deceived by the rhetoric of the righteous monks." These words were not concealed at all and fell into the ears of everyone. The people from the Yaloo demon sect looked strange, knowing that Nangong Yin was talking about Nangong Tingfeng, who eloped with an unknown person from the Peepa realm and gave birth to a son. Everyone in Yaoang Valley looked curious. Who in the Peepa realm had such great ability, and could actually deceive the daughter of such a powerful man? Father. Xiu'er was coquettish, her face turned red, and said, "Zuyun saved my life, I naturally don't want anything to happen to him. This time, we have something serious to do, and this is the top priority of Yaloo demon sect right now. You also know that we Yaloo demon sect, keep your promise. Don't tell me whether you have these things or not," Nangong Yin said lightly, "this tower is very strange. I brought several of your uncles here this time to find you on behalf of the Nangong family, not on behalf of the Demon Seal section. Now that I've found you and you're fine, come back with me." Nangong Yin directly interrupted Xiu'er's words, which was exactly in line with the purpose of everyone present. Yu Tangzi didn't care about Nangong Yin's sudden move, and immediately smiled and said, "Nangong family head, we happen to be persuading Xiu'er to leave this tower. If you are here, then take her home to see her. Yu Tangzi, you are self-aware, so I won't settle the score with you for what happened to Xiu'er earlier." Nangong Yin said proudly, "However, I remember you told you before that as long as something happens to Xiu'er, I will not let her stay in Yaloo demon sect. So I went back this time. If you want to see Xiu'er in the future, just come to my demon seal sect." Who would have thought that Xiu'er said loudly, "Dad, I won't go to the demon seal sect, I want to stay in the Yaloo demon sect. There are all stinky men in your place, and I don't like them." Nangong Yin's forehead turned black and he said, "Xiu'er, don't forget, your surname is Nangong. Also, now that the barriers between the two realms have been eliminated, many righteous monks will come to the Yusha realm. It is inevitable that there will be young people who will trick you with sweet words. What will happen if you leave? Daddy doesn't want our Nangong family to be a laughing stock again." As he said that, Nangong Yin looked at the people in Yaoang Valley intentionally or unintentionally. "Nangong family, what are you looking at?" His eyes were extremely unkind, and even the valley master, who was good at Peepa, couldn't help but speak out. "Just because your realm is high doesn't mean your temper is gone. Why, you are occupying a large number of people and you want to fight with me, Nangong Yin." "I, Nangong Yin, am not boasting. Can you old bones accept one of my demon seals?" Nangong Yin, Yu Tangzi couldn't stand it anymore and said angrily, "They are people from Yaoang Valley, and they have joined forces with our Yaluo demon sect to solve this tower. Moreover, without them, Xiu'er can still stand safely at this time. Here. Nangongyin turned away with a cold face and said in a cold voice, I, Nangongyin, are doing things, and it's not your turn, Xianxia, to interrupt. If you don't accept it, how about a beating? After the words fell, several old men suddenly appeared and stood behind Nangongyin. It was those supreme elders. Suddenly, the situation was tense. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 745. Zuyun originally thought that the misunderstanding was resolved and nothing would happen. Unexpectedly, such a domineering Nangongyin would not even look down on Xianxia, who has gained hundreds of years of life. Even if at this time, there are several more old men at the peak of the late nascent soul behind him, so what? What he faced at this time was a total of more than 30 nascent soul stages from both sides. For a moment, Zuyun couldn't figure out what Nangongyin was going to do. Making enemies out of thin air? At this moment, suddenly there was an explosion in the distance. At the same time, a surge of spiritual power also followed, quickly attracting Nangongyin's attention. Hey, they seem to be from our Demon Seal sect. Nangongyin murmured, and several elders behind him also said in succession, it is indeed from the Demon Seal sect, but it seems that he lacks stamina and seems to have been injured. I have reached the 7th level of the demonic seal technique, and I feel 7 demonic seals coming out at the same time. Let's go over and have a look. As he spoke, Nangongyin stretched out his hand and rushed towards that direction with Xiu'er. Several people behind him also followed closely behind. This sudden change also stunned Xianxia and others. A fight was about to start, but Nangongyin just left right away. Even Zuyun was confused. But when he discovered the direction Nangongyin and others were going, his expression suddenly changed. Senior Yu, Valley Master, something must have happened at Guangmen. Let's go over and have a look. If there is a fight, there will be deaths and injuries. It's fine if you're dead, but if you're injured, it is very likely that Zhu Feng will take the opportunity to devour him. Based on his current state, he could feel that the spiritual power of both parties had reached the nascent soul stage. But as for the small realm, he couldn't feel it. Walk. Xianxia made a quick decision and gave an order, and everyone quickly followed suit. Zuyun's speed was too slow, so he had no choice but to sacrifice Xiu'er's magic seal, and then he could keep up with everyone. But in front, Nangongyin looked at Xiu'er beside him. Xiu'er, did you give away all the magic seal spiritual weapons that your father refined for you? As he said that, he looked back and saw Zuyun standing on top of the huge demon seal. Who should I give it to? To a monk in the Peeper realm. It's still a pill-forming stage. Dad, Xiu'er said, feeling ashamed and angry. At that time, he and I planned to go home to find you, but who would have thought that we would encounter the Silver Sword Demon sect halfway? Zuyun asked me to run away first, and then he used the magic seal to attract the attention of the Silver Sword Demon sect and others. Xiu'er recounted the scene at that time in one breath, and Nangongyin couldn't help but praise him. If this boy is like this, he is much more reliable than Feng and he. That damn old man still dares not see me. Fortunately, Ting Feng still cares about her. Xiu'er continued, Dad, so this magic seal spiritual weapon is just for loan to him. Even if I give it to him, he won't want it. He is very capable. Xiu'er, Nangongyin said calmly, Feng and he is also very capable. His sword-making skills are occasionally heard in Yusha realm. It's a pity that that guy is hiding his head and tail, and he doesn't even have the courage. I'm really unhappy. On the contrary, this guy dared to chase you when he was only in the realm of pill formation. By the way, he also brought you to Yaoang Valley. Xiu'er shook her head and said, I don't know. I was here when I woke up. Senior Sister Luo told me that he took me to Yaoang Valley to seek medical advice, and then he cured me and brought me back. I did the same. I just woke up not long ago. Nangongyan nodded and said, if this boy is affectionate and righteous, when Dad beats him, he won't beat him to death. Don't worry. Xiu'er was shocked. Dad, you still want to bully me for a whole period of time. Why are you so thick-skinned? Ha ha ha, Nangongyan laughed loudly. Dad chooses a son-in-law, not based on realm or appearance, only based on character. People in the Yasha realm know Dad's temper and he can disguise it well, so Dad let you go. I didn't bring it back to Yaluo demon sect. Xiu'er was speechless. She thought there were other reasons, but she never thought it would be like this. But if she continued talking, she would be the only one who was embarrassed, so Xiu'er quickly changed the subject and said, Dad, Sister Tingfeng, why weren't you so open-minded back then? Humph, that damn girl secretly gave birth to a boy with Feng and didn't tell me. I just heard the news by chance. That's all. Dad sent someone over to ask her to come back, but she didn't come back. If it's your turn, are you angry? Dad became a grandpa for the first time, but he didn't get a seat at the table. Xiu'er was very puzzled and said, but Dad, why don't you tell Sister Tingfeng clearly? Explain clearly, Nangongyan said disdainfully. What kind of people are your father and me? How can I be involved in trivial matters in this clan every day? I don't want to lose face. Xiu'er was speechless, but she heard someone behind her say with a smile, Second miss, the master of the house is saying this in anger, don't take it to heart. Your father deliberately drove away Sister Tingfeng, and now he is probably looking for your brother-in-law. Life is terrible. Moisturized. Second uncle, why do you say anything? Nangongyan was slightly blamed. After all, this involved His Majesty. Ha ha ha, Patriarch, you have said that you are coming out this time as the Patriarch. So I am your second uncle and your elder. Just say a few words and I won't count it as a crime, right? Okay, Nangongyan touched his nose and couldn't refute. Xiu'er seemed to be interested. She didn't spend much time with Nangongyan. In fact, she didn't know much about this father whom she hadn't met many times. I only know that he treats me very well. Now that I know Nangong Tingfeng's situation, my heart can't help but feel warm. I didn't expect that. I still misunderstood him to some extent. Second uncle, where is my sister Tingfeng now? She knew that Nangongyan was too proud, so she simply asked the second elder. Alas, the second elder sighed, and then said, originally, Tingfeng also followed us, saying that she wanted to come in with us to find you, but your father, with a sharp tongue and a soft heart, said that he would expel her from the Demon Seal sect and the Nangong family, and slapped her to the Peeper realm with one palm. Maybe, I will never see her again in this life. Dad, you are too cruel. Xiu'er curled her lips, looked up, and could already see the whole picture of the mountain. At the same time, at the edge of the mountain top, two black shadows were fighting, and the one using the demon seal was at a disadvantage. Humph, the people of Devouring Demon Sect. How dare you bully our Demon Seal sect? Do you really think that since I, Nangongyan, came out as the head of the family, I am not the leader of the Demon Seal sect? Having had a conflict with Matai before, Nangongyan subconsciously turned the fight between Zhu Feng and Nangong Tingfeng into Matai's revenge. But he couldn't find any other people around, so he was ready to attack Zhu Feng directly. But just as the palm power rose, Nangong Tingfeng was suddenly sucked away by a strong suction force and flew straight into Zhu Feng's palm. Nangong Tingfeng faced them, which immediately shocked several people. Tingfeng! Nangongyan screamed in shock. She just said that she was in the Peeper realm, how could she appear here? But at this time, he couldn't care too much. Nangongyan slapped out a palm in the air, and a huge demon seal appeared out of thin air, smashing down directly on the top of the hill. Zhu Feng saw so many peaks of the late nascent soul stage suddenly appearing, and his legs were already weak with fear. After a long battle with Nangong Ting Feng, he finally adapted to the realm of the nascent soul stage, and at the same time, he borrowed the power of the demon refining tower and finally suppressed Nangong Ting Feng. But when he saw that he succeeded, so many people came again, how could he dare to stay here, and immediately wanted to rush to the light gate. "Dad, we can't find him if he escapes into the light gate." And Jiu'er, knowing that the light gate is the passage to the next level, was concerned about the safety of Nangong Ting Feng, so she shouted immediately. I saw that Nangong Yin's eyes shrank and he turned his palm over suddenly. Boom! The magic seal that came straight down also quickly turned in a direction and smashed directly into the light gate. In an instant, the light gate shattered. And Zhu Feng also stopped suddenly. Fortunately, the magic seal did not hit him, but he was extremely scared. Where to run next? These are several peak late nascent souls. Just when he was at a loss, several figures flew down from the other side and blocked him. Nangong Yin, you actually attacked my disciple? Are you really going to turn against my devouring demon sect? Hearing this long-lost voice, Zhu Feng was ecstatic. My reinforcements are here too. Instantly, his mind changed, and he immediately shouted loudly, Master, this woman saw that I was gifted and said that I would be a great enemy of the demon seal sect in the future, so she wanted to kill me here first. I had no choice but to take action, but who would have thought that she would call for help? This provocation instantly solidified the air around. The murderous intentions of the two sides kept colliding in the air. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 746. Nangong Yin, how dare you? Zhu Feng is the most talented disciple that Ma Tai has ever seen. Of course, this is only from the realm of Zhu Feng's bones. Especially at this time, Zhu Feng has broken through to the nascent soul stage. This boy will be the beginning of their devouring demon sect's uniqueness in Yusha realm. Don't be fooled, he is. Nangong Ting Feng, who was restrained by Zhu Feng, screamed hysterically, but was suddenly strangled by Zhu Feng's neck, and his voice stopped abruptly. Ting Feng. Nangong Yin was furious, turned his hand and slapped out a huge magic seal. When facing his daughter's life and death, he burst out with extremely strong power at this moment. Not to mention, he never took Ma Tai seriously. The huge magic seal slammed towards Zhu Feng. The magic seal is fast, but Ma Tai's reaction is also very fast. Nangong Yin, you want to destroy the foundation of my devouring demon sect, wishful thinking. Ma Tai knew that if Nangong Yin succeeded, it would be far more than just killing Zhu Feng. The demon seal sect would come after them in the future. In the past, he was a little afraid of Nangong Yin, but now, he knew he had to go all out. Bang! Ma Tai stretched out his palm and changed it into a claw. A dark vortex was slapped out. A strong suction force made the demon seal that was bombarding Zhu Feng constantly change its direction and roll over. The momentum was greatly reduced. Zhu Feng dodged in a hurry and wanted to run to the second floor. But the light gate was destroyed. With a thought in his mind, he rushed to the other side of the hill. There was the exit. In his eyes, the people of the devouring demon sect were just being used. He didn't care about their life or death at all. Master, we are here too. Seeing that Nangong Yin and Ma Tai were evenly matched, several other elders behind them almost rushed forward at the same time, each slapped a magic seal and blasted towards Ma Tai. Moyin sect, don't bully us too much, do you think we are all dead? Behind Ma Tai, several people attacked at the same time, and the same vortex met the magic seal. Boom! Boom! Boom. In the low hill, there were loud noises, and the soles of the feet were shaking, as if the space in the tower was about to collapse. Sister Tingfeng. Xiu'er couldn't participate in this level of battle, but her eyes were always on Nangong Tingfeng. Seeing that Zhu Feng was about to run with Nangong Tingfeng, she screamed and chased after him subconsciously. Zhu Feng saw that the one chasing him was only a Jindan stage, and he couldn't help but feel overjoyed. Although he controlled Nangong Tingfeng, it was still difficult for him to devour her power and vitality, and Xiu'er was only in the Jindan stage, which was really a pillow for her sleepiness. Zhu Feng pinched Nangong Tingfeng's neck with his left hand, and suddenly stretched out his right hand towards Xiu'er. They were dozens of steps away, but the difference in realm made Xiu'er suddenly feel a strong suction. A vortex exactly the same as Matai and the others. Ha ha ha, come here. Zhu Feng grinned, as if when Xiu'er was sucked into his hand, the nascent soul would immediately stabilize. This sudden change distracted Nangong Yin. Xiu'er. Tingfeng. Seeing his two daughters fall into Zhu Feng's hands, Nangong Yin's eyes were about to burst, and he roared and rushed to rescue. But how could Matai let him succeed? Want to leave? Have you asked us? Devouring demon array, form. Matai shouted, and the elders behind him slapped out the vortexes they controlled and rushed towards Matai's vortex. But in the blink of an eye, all the whirlpools merged into one, superimposed together, like a black hole in the endless universe, swallowing everything. Matai, you actually practiced this forbidden magic array. Nangong Yin screamed and retreated rapidly, looking at himself getting farther and farther away from Zhu Feng. His face was ashen. He knew that since Matai had even used the array banned by Yasharelm, he would definitely kill people to silence them. He was completely powerless to stop it, so how could he save his two daughters? But at this moment, a delicate voice, like the sound of nature, rang in Nangong Yin's ears. Matai, you broke the rules of Yasharelm. If you use the forbidden method, everyone in Yasharelm can kill you. Yu Tangzi. Nangong Yin didn't expect that the one who could save him was Yu Tangzi, who had been scolded by him several times. Yu Tangzi was like a fairy, descending from the sky with a group of fairies. You Luo demon sect, listen to my order. If anyone from the devouring demon sect breaks the rules, they will be killed without mercy. At this moment, Yu Tangzi was full of vigor and energy, as if she had returned to the position of the sect master. No one cared whether Yu Tangzi was guilty of committing a crime. All the female cultivators of the Yuluo demon sect had only one thing in mind. Kill Matai. Yuluo demon art. Yuluo palm. Yuluo transformation power. All the female cultivators used their best spells and techniques, and blasted at the devouring demon sect members behind the vortex. How could you, the Yuluo demon sect, appear here? Matai screamed in shock. The forbidden formation was extremely powerful, but it also had an unavoidable weakness. When all the vortices merged together, they could not move. More than a dozen female cultivators, with all their strength, blasted Matai and the devouring demon sect disciples. Boom! The person was blown away, the vortex broke, and it disappeared without a trace. Nangong Yin, after losing the attraction of the devouring power, also fell heavily to the ground. Although the huge vortex just now did not suck him in, it almost devoured all the power in his body. If he was sucked in, then his life would no longer exist. The Nangong Yin who was in charge of one side would become a dried corpse. Xiu'er, go and save Xiu'er. Nangong Yin was not feeling well either, breathing out more than breathing in, but when he saw Zhu Yun stepping on the magic seal, for some reason, he remembered what Xiu'er had told him about how to escape the pursuit of the Silver Sword Demon sect, and he didn't care that Zhu Yun was only in the Jindan stage, and couldn't help shouting at the top of his lungs. What's wrong with Xiu'er? Zhu Yun asked hurriedly. Of course, he couldn't intervene in these Yuanying battles, and as soon as he came here, he looked for Zhu Feng's figure, but found nothing. He ran down the mountain and caught Ting Feng, "Go and save Xiu'er," and Ting Feng. Nangongyan's consciousness gradually blurred. Although the devouring demon array did not completely absorb him, his nascent soul had been greatly damaged. At that moment, the devouring demon array was almost devouring him alone. He was lucky to be able to say a few words at this time. When Zhu Yun heard the two words "down the mountain," he immediately thought of the exit of the tower. He was shocked and chased after him without hesitation. Here, the people of Yaoluo Demon Sect and Yaoang Valley will be left to deal with the aftermath. Seniors, Zhu Feng has already escaped from this tower. After you deal with the aftermath, leave from the light gate at the bottom of the mountain. Zhu Yun made a long story short. After telling them the location of the exit, he rushed out first. It was at this time that he realized that the light gate to the second floor had disappeared. But Zhu Yun couldn't care less. As long as he killed Zhu Feng, the evil thoughts of the demon refining tower would not be able to stir up any storms even if they were powerful. At that time, let the demon cultivators in Yusha realm set the demon moon forest as a real forbidden area, so that no one can enter the demon refining tower, and the evil thoughts will be trapped here for a long time. The trouble will be solved. In an instant, Zhu Yun had already thought of a plan in his mind. At this time, he not only wanted to save Nangong Tingfeng and Xiu'er, but also wanted to kill Zhu Yun here. Swish! Zhu Yun, who controlled the magic seal, flashed by, and as the light in front of him turned, he had already left the demon refining tower. Without feeling, he found three figures, which were Zhu Feng and Nangong Tingfeng. "Zhu Feng, damn it!" Zhu Yun roared, took out the chaos sword and slashed at Zhu Feng in the void. But he completely overlooked one point. Zhu Feng is already in the nascent soul realm. Even if he is in the early stage of the nascent soul is not completely stable, and Zhu Feng cannot kill him head-on. "You are the one who deserves death." When Zhu Feng heard this familiar voice, he looked over with a ferocious face. Seeing that Zhu Yun was still in the late stage of Jindan, he threw the two women aside and suddenly stretched out a palm towards Zhu Yun. "Zhu Yun, let you taste the power of Yuanying." As soon as the voice fell, a vortex suddenly appeared in his palm and was slapped towards Zhu Yun. Not good. Feeling the terrifying power, Zhu Yun was horrified. Compared with other Yuanying, Zhu Feng might be similar to an ant, but facing Zhu Yun head-on, he was completely crushed in terms of realm. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 747. Zhu Yun was unable to resist the huge suction force generated by the black vortex. When he was only a few steps away from the vortex, Zhu Yun suddenly inserted the chaos sword into the ground, trying to use the chaos sword to resist. But the gap in their realms made it impossible to help. "Zhu Yun, I originally wanted to devour this female cultivator to consolidate my nascent soul, but I didn't expect you to come to my door. Today, I will eliminate the trouble. From now on, I will be the only genius in the Zhu family." Seeing that Zhu Yun was about to die in his hands, Zhu Feng was extremely crazy. From childhood to adulthood, Zhu Yun was the nightmare that Zhu Rong'an had placed in his mind, and he could not get rid of it at all. In addition, Zhu Yun had already cut off his earthly ties at that time, so he would not have any intersection with Zhu Feng. But fate played tricks on him. Zhu Feng was proud in his heart and wanted to surpass Zhu Yun, so he ran away from home and went to the Spirit Sword sect. From then on, he couldn't stop and practiced all the way to now. This was something that was unexpected, and it also made Zhu Feng's heart swell extremely, and he was more convinced that he was more suitable for cultivating immortals than Zhu Yun. But how could he know that Zhu Yun was kind by nature? He wanted to wait until De Go and Ergo, who grew up together, cultivated to the nascent soul stage together before entering the spirit world together. How could he not take Zhu Feng, who had already entered the Spirit Sword sect? It can be said that Zhu Feng embarked on the path of magic himself and went to the opposite side of Zhu Yun. Everything started on that island, when he wanted to kill Sun Qiniang and win the favor of Tang Zhuyang. But no matter what, Zhu Feng is Zhu Yun's younger brother after all, and they have half the same blood. They are all Zhu family members. From the bottom of his heart, Zhu Yun didn't want to kill him. But at this time, has it really reached the point of no return? Zhu Feng controlled the swallowing vortex, and Zhu Yun barely supported it, but Zhu Feng knew that Zhu Yun could not support it for long. This is equivalent to a competition of spiritual power. Zhu Yun, let's see how long you can hold on. Zhu Feng's facial features were distorted. When he saw Zhu Yun again, all his thoughts were thrown behind his head. At this time, his heart had long been polluted by evil thoughts, and there was only one word: kill. But Zhu Yun no longer had the intention to kill. Just because he heard Zhu Feng say that he was the only genius in the Zhu family. This made Zhu Yun enlightened. Life and death seemed to become less important at this moment, and Zhu Yun's heart calmed down. Perhaps at the beginning, if he put down the arrogance of the immortal cultivator and moved Zhu Feng with emotion and reason, would Zhu Feng still be doing well in the Lingjian sect? Perhaps he would not have the realm he has today, but at least, he would not become a Zhu Feng who only knows how to practice and forgets thousands of lives. It is even impossible to be used by evil thoughts. Zhu Yun's heart calmed down. Beside his ears, the strong suction made his clothes rustle, and Zhu Yun felt that he was in the circle of the storm. Wind. Suddenly, such a word appeared in his mind. Wind's spiritual power is everywhere. The sharpness of gold can become wind. The coldness of ice can become wind. The fierceness of fire can also become wind. The swallowing magic power also brought wind. Any spiritual power can generate wind when it moves. If I turn myself into wind and blend into it, what can this suction do to me? Zhu Yun muttered to himself in his heart, and his hands unconsciously loosened the chaos sword. In his body, the chaos seed, which was originally spinning wildly and providing spiritual power to Zhu Yun, also slowed down at this moment. The chaos power that rushed towards Zhu Yun's hands also turned into wind spiritual power with Zhu Yun's thoughts. Ha ha ha, spiritual power is not enough, right? How can a Jindan stage stop the swallowing vortex of my Yuanying stage? Zhu Feng looked up and laughed wildly when he saw this. But he never thought that after laughing, he found that Zhu Yun was not sucked into the vortex at all. Even Zhu Yun, who had released his hands, did not get any closer. What was going on? Suddenly, Zhu Feng was also dumbfounded. And Zhu Yun made a bold decision. Zhu Feng, the farce should end. After saying that, he took a step and actually took the initiative to move towards Zhu Feng. No, impossible. Zhu Feng stared. This incredible scene overturned his understanding of the realm of cultivation. I couldn't kill you, Zhu Yun, when I was in the Jindan stage. Then I am in the Yuanying stage now, why can't I kill you in the Jindan stage? Heaven is unfair, heaven is unfair. Zhu Feng suddenly roared, and the helplessness in his eyes turned into cruelty again. Since I can't devour you, then I will destroy you. I don't believe that you, a Jindan stage, can withstand my Yuanying attack. My life is up to me, not up to heaven. The hysterical roar seemed to tear Zhu Feng's throat apart. He raised his hand and stretched it towards the demon refining tower. Tower! Instantly, the world roared. After all, the demon refining tower was his life-saving magic weapon. Under his command, it quickly shrank to the size of a spiritual sword and fell into his hands. He suddenly stabbed the top of the tower towards Zhu Yun. Zhu Yun, die. Can Zhu Yun block it for more than 10 steps? What's more, his chaos sword was still stuck in the ground behind him. It was too late to fly the sword. Zhu Feng. I said, the farce is over. The demon refining tower was like a black light, but it stopped between Zhu Yun's eyebrows and could not move forward any further. Zhu Yun didn't even blink, just stared at Zhu Feng. And around the tower, countless green lights were entangled at some point. They are the tiny branches of the ancestral tree. This is Zhu Yun's confidence. Even if his understanding of wind spirit power has advanced further, the gap in realm makes it impossible for him to ignore Zhu Feng. And the reason why he was able to think of the ancestral trees was because his wind spirit power, which he could feel the wind and grass around, discovered that many ancient trees in the Demon Moon Forest had regained their vitality. No matter how damaged the ancestral tree's strength is, it will still be countless times stronger than Zhu Feng, a new nascent soul in the early stage. As for Zhu Yun, when his murderous intention was gone, he also remembered the scene of his confrontation with Sun Qiniang. Sun Qiniang also got into trouble and couldn't let go of her obsession. But in the end, she became his trustworthy partner in life and death. Zhu Yunzhen wanted to give Zhu Feng one last chance. If he cannot be awakened from the demonic barrier, then he won't show mercy anymore. However, before that, he wants to destroy Zhu Feng's nascent soul. Ancestral tree, thank you. In addition to the small branches on the tower, Zhu Feng's waist was also wrapped by thicker branches. The powerful wood spirit power made him unable to move. I know. Zhu Shu had been waiting for Zhu Yun to speak. Now, when he finally waited, he let out a long sigh. Perhaps, this is the best ending. I saw the ancestral tree roaring, and a green branch emerged from the trunk, and then plunged into Zhu Feng's lower abdomen. No. 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 The green branches pierced Zhu Feng's lower abdomen, and the nascent soul, which had not even opened its eyes, was stillborn in an instant. At the same time, the green branches absorbed the power of nascent soul. It's like the roots of a tree are absorbing nutrients. But the reality is that the ancestral tree wants to absorb all the pure magic power of Zhu Feng and then purify it. It's not like swallowing magic power, absorbing it for one's own use. In the time of a stick of incense, Zhu Feng's nascent soul had disappeared, and at the same time, he had also become immortal. The unwillingness and anger in his eyes turned into endless hatred. But Zhu Yun turned a blind eye. Ancestor Shu, thank you for your hard work. The moment Zhu Feng became immortal, Zhu Yun finally breathed a sigh of relief. Not only is Zhu Feng no longer able to threaten him, but the evil thoughts of the demon saint in the demon refining tower can no longer succeed. The huge stone in his heart was put down, and Zhu Yun felt relaxed all over. The demon moon forest has also returned to normal. Although its vitality is still a little weak, with the vitality of these demon trees, it is expected that it will be able to recover quickly. Zhu Yun took back the ancestral tree and Muling Sacred Mountain to the Immortal Mansion, and they were busy. And next, he will take the place of his father and teach his son, and teach Zhu Feng a lesson. If he still doesn't wake up, Zhu Yun, kill me. Without the support of the branches of the ancestral tree, Zhu Feng collapsed on the ground and roared viciously. Do you really want to die? Zhu Yun said lightly, then deliberately ignored him and threw the demon refining tower out. Without Zhu Feng's control and ancestral tree's suppression, the demon refining tower instantly reduced to its original size and returned to its original position. It's not that I want to die, it's that you want me to die, isn't it? Perhaps because he felt that he was bound to die, Zhu Feng was not afraid of Zhu Yun at all. Zhu Feng, Zhu Yun suddenly took a step forward, stretched out his hand to grab his collar, lifted him up, and said angrily, I never thought of killing you, you are responsible for all this. Zhu Yun, stop acting so sanctimonious. Zhu Feng was not afraid at all and sneered, if you didn't want me to die, then why did you throw me on the island that day and didn't care about my life or death? I didn't say it right. Zhu Yun threw Zhu Feng on the ground, took a deep breath, and said, I never wanted to kill you, only before you tried to kill Sun Qiniang. If you bully your master and destroy your ancestors, everyone will be killed and punish him. Zhu Feng, You even want to kill the master who taught you swordsmanship, so will you want to kill the father who stopped you from cultivating immortality in the future? Zhu Yun, don't be an afterthought. Zhu Feng said fiercely. At that time, Tang Zhuyang was in the late stage of pill formation, and you and Sun Qiniang combined were no match for one of his fingers. I want to live, and this is the only way. Have you considered my feelings? I hated you at that time. I blame you, but I never wanted to kill you. The scene at that time suddenly appeared in Zhu Yun's mind. When he thought about it more carefully, it seemed that he had indeed done something too cold-blooded. If I could think from Zhu Feng's perspective, and even look for Zhu Feng after Tang Zhuyang's death, maybe. He is not like this anymore. So, do I have a reason to? For a moment, Zhu Yun also felt guilty in his heart. And the source of all this started with Sun Qiniang. Did I make such a decision just to vent my anger on Sun Qiniang? Zhu Yun lowered his head and reached out to touch the scroll on his waist. Sun Qiniang, right here. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 748. At this time, in the Demon Refining Tower, Yaluo Demon Sect and Yaoang Valley joined forces to defeat everyone from Devouring Demon Sect. After knowing that the light door was the exit, they blocked the light door intentionally or unintentionally to prevent them from escaping from here. Matai and others were miserable. After joining forces to form the Devouring Demonic Array, they suffered a great loss. After it was destroyed, they suffered a backlash from the array. Moreover, the two parties have a numerical advantage. If they want to survive, they have no choice but to escape. After running like crazy, they finally escaped the pursuit of Yaluo Demon Sect, Yaoang Valley, and others. Yu Tangzi and others knew the principle of not chasing after a poor enemy, but they were also worried about whether Zhu Yun could kill Zhu Feng, so they led everyone back to the short mountain. Elder Yu, they. Everyone in Yaoang Valley pointed at Nangongyan and others and said. Oh, Yu Tangzi sighed and said, take them out and ask Zhu Yun before we talk. Let's go out first, then guard the exit and wait for the rabbit to come. Become. The Valley Master didn't say anything more, and signaled his elders to leave the Demon Refining Tower with those spiritual powers and several people from the Nangong family. At this time, evil thoughts were roaring crazily on the 9th floor of the tower. The black water in the black pool kept surging. He felt that he was cut off from Zhu Feng, which meant that all his preparations over the years were in vain. All the preparations turned out to be in vain. Wanting to escape from the Demon Refining Tower and return to the outer world for revenge has become a fantasy. He could even predict that Zhu Yun would definitely place the Demon Refining Tower in an uninhabited place. As long as no one comes in, it's impossible for him to turn over again. Even if he is no longer suppressed by the power of monsters and statues in the tower, he will continue to be trapped in this tower forever and ever. Damn it, damn it. This waste. If I had known at that time that I would directly seize Wuchideo's body, why would I let him kill Wuchideo? Even if it wasn't Wuchideo, Zhang Feng would be fine. Just when the evil thoughts were extremely annoyed, he suddenly sensed that there were several Yuanying stages running around on the first floor of the tower. Originally, he had no intention of checking. After all, without Zhu Feng as a medium, he couldn't devour it. But he had just stepped back. People from the demon sect did not need to be devoured to become carriers. Suddenly, a small amount of power from the tower surged over. In an instant, he burst into crazy laughter. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, I didn't expect it, there's another village full of bright flowers. At this time, outside the tower, a group of nascent souls looked at Zhu Yun and Zhu Feng in front of him with strange expressions. No one came forward to disturb Zhu Yun as he taught his younger brother a lesson. As outsiders, they could tell with just a few words that Zhu Yun did not want to kill Zhu Feng. It was only because of Zuyun that he was asked about what Zhu Feng said. Have you ever thought about how I felt at that time? I want to live. Is it wrong? This sentence echoed in Zhu Yun's mind repeatedly. Finally, Zhu Yun made a decision in his heart. Zhu Feng, I was wrong. He admitted his mistake. Zhu Yun, stop pretending to me. What? Zhu Feng looked at Zhu Yun in disbelief. He actually admitted his mistake? Did he finally admit that what he did back then was wrong? Yes, I was wrong. Zhu Yun looked into Zhu Feng's eyes and said sternly, but, I was only wrong in one thought, but you were wrong in one step and every step. You're wrong, I'm wrong too, you're wrong, I'm wrong too. Suddenly, Zhu Yun covered his face and burst into tears. This scene made everyone look at each other in shock. What happened? If you recognize your mistakes, correct them and you will still be a good boy. Seeing Zhu Feng crying as helplessly as a child, Zhu Yun took a step forward, put his hand on the top of his head, and stroked his scattered hair back and forth. I was wrong, I was wrong. I thought it was right to live, but after I survived the wild sea, if I came to admit my mistake to Master, maybe this would not be the case. Zhu Feng cried loudly, feeling relieved from the tension in his mind over the years and letting go of his obsessions. Yes, Zhu Yun wiped the corners of his eyes and said, admit your mistake to your master. Master? Zhu Feng raised his head and looked at Zhu Yun with some confusion. Right. Zhu Yun smiled slightly and took out the heavenly painting scroll from his arms. A beautiful shadow flashed by, and Sun Qinyang's figure suddenly appeared in front of Zhu Feng. Well, Zhu Yun, are you finally willing to let me go? Sun Qinyang made a cooing sound, drew her sword and struck at Zhu Yun. This scene made everyone stunned. Others hide their beauties in their golden houses, but you actually hide one in your body. You are quite good at playing. Sun Qinyang, stop making trouble. Zhu Yun's step slipped, he passed over lightly, and then he whispered to Sun Qinyang. Only then did Sun Qinyang realize that the atmosphere around her was a bit strange. When she looked carefully, her face suddenly turned pale with fright. How many nascent soul stages will it take to stare at yourself? Just as she was dazed, a figure suddenly rose from the ground and pounced at her feet. Master! I was wrong, I want to practice swordsmanship. Sun Qinyang was shocked. Where did she get her apprentice? Furthermore, nearly 10 years have passed since the last time I met Zhu Feng. At that time, Zhu Feng was still a child. What's more, Zhu Feng's hair was disheveled at this time, covering most of his face, with blood on the corners of his mouth and tears in his eyes. Of course, the main reason was that there were too many Yuanying stage people around. Seeing that Sun Qinyang did not respond, Zhu Feng began to kowtow and said, Master, I am Zhu Feng, it is Zhu Feng, I was wrong back then, I want to practice swordsmanship, I don't want to become a demon cultivator. Zhu Feng. Sun Qinyang was dumbfounded. Before Zhu Yun put her into the Huatian scroll, he said he was going to kill Zhu Feng. But how come when she came out of the Huatian scroll again, Zhu Feng called her master again? Sun Qinyang looked down in disbelief, and Zhu Feng's spiritual power was gone, just like immortal. This is. Zhu Yun sighed and said, Qinyang, his cultivation is completely destroyed, and I also have reasons for Zhu Feng's possession of the devil. You mean? Sun Qinyang frowned, and immediately remembered, saying, you mean, you didn't bring him back to Yunzhou from the island, and let him fend for himself. Zhu Yun didn't want to repeat this, just nodded and didn't say anything. Sun Qinyang understood. She knew Zhu Yun too well. She simply got straight to the point and said, so, you want him to learn swordsmanship from me? No, Zhu Yun shook his head and said, now his life is in your hands. If you forgive him and are willing to teach him swordsmanship, then he will practice swordsmanship with you. If you don't forgive him, you can kill him or cut him up. Zhu Yun, you really have a good plan. Killing him is none of your business. If you don't kill him, you will be the good guy again. Also, let him learn swordsmanship from me. Do you really think that I, Sun Qiniang, am a trash can that you can do whatever you want to me? For some reason, Sun Qiniang's temper suddenly came up. Zhu Yun didn't understand why. Just when he was about to say something, he saw Sun Qiniang suddenly step on the sword and stand up. Her pretty face was as cold as ice. Zhu Yun, I, Sun Qiniang, came all the way from Yunzhou to find you in Yusha realm, but I didn't let you do whatever you want. Zhu Yun was speechless and felt that he had gone too far. It seemed that this was indeed the case. Humph, I will kill anyone who wants to kill me. However, considering that you helped me completely solve Jian Tianming before, there will be no more troubles. I, Sun Qiniang, owe you a life. Now, if I don't kill Zhu Feng, I will repay your life. The road to immortality is long, Zhu Yun, see you again if we are destined to meet. After saying that, Sun Qiniang sacrificed her spiritual sword and rushed straight into the sky. After flying straight out of the Demon Moon Forest, Sun Qiniang suddenly sat down and cried in the air. He knew that he could not keep up with Zhu Yun's pace of cultivation. There were so many Yuanying present, but no one spoke, which showed Zhu Yun's current status. She, Sun Qiniang, at least at this time, was not worthy of Zhu Yun. So, she said such a decisive word. Zhu Yun, I can't take care of myself, how can I have the energy to teach Zhu Feng? After crying, Sun Qiniang wiped away her tears, looked down at the spirit sword at her feet, and murmured, with the spirit sword in hand, I need to practice well, and I can't let you look down on me in the future. If you dare to take me into that broken painting again, I will destroy you with one sword. Sun Qiniang gritted her teeth and flew towards the far west with the sword. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 749. Wish Yun. The people from Yaluo demon sect, Yao Wangwu and others came forward. Seniors, please forgive me. Zhu Yun apologized quickly. Zhu Yun, what do you mean by this? This is already the best result. Yu Tangzi glanced at Zhu Feng and smiled lightly. Yes, they say that a prodigal son never comes back with gold, and we all see it in our eyes. Since Zhu Feng has achieved enlightenment, that's the best thing to do. That's right, it also destroyed the Tower Spirit's conspiracy. The Demon Moon Forest is a forbidden area. From now on, our Yaluo sect will send people to guard this place and no one will come in. Luo Yanran also said immediately. Indeed, Zhu Yun sighed, looked to the other side, and said, Senior Nangong's side. I'm just waiting for you to speak, the Valley Master said with a smile, if you say save, we will save you, otherwise we wouldn't dare to take action. The pressure is gone and everyone is very relaxed. By the way, there are Tingfeng Mojun and Xiu'er, where are they? Zhu Yun also suddenly thought of the two women. They're fine, they're just a little weak. I've seen them. An elder from Yaoang Valley said. That's good. Zhu Yun lowered his head and glanced at Zhu Feng. This was his fault. After thinking for a moment, he took out the scroll and handed it to Yu Tangzi. He said, Senior Yu, this is Tingfeng Demon Lord, I hope you can return it to her first. In addition, there is this magic seal, which is Xiu'er's magic weapon. I also returned it together. Seeing this scene, everyone knew that Zhu Yun was leaving, and they were a little reluctant to leave. Zhu Yun, are you going to take Zhu Feng back to Yunzhou? Luo Yanran asked with an incomprehensible expression. Yes, he is already immortal, how can he survive in a place like this? Besides, Zhu Yun glanced at Jiu'er, and everyone immediately understood and said nothing more. Only Luo Yanran continued, then if you come to Yasha realm again, please bring Wu Ya to have a look, okay? That's natural, Zhu Yun happily agreed, casually taking out a magic weapon and flying into the sky with Zhu Feng. Everyone, see you later. Valley Master, when I finish my work, I will go to Dongsheng realm. The latter sentence made the Valley Master extremely excited. Okay, okay. If you have the opportunity to come to my Medicine King Valley as a guest, I'll treat you to some medicine. Everyone kept laughing until Zhu Yun and Zhu Feng disappeared, and everyone from the Yaluo demon sect sat around the demon refining tower. The elders of Yaoang Valley began to treat the injuries of Nangongyin and others. They were attacked by the devouring formation and their bodies were extremely weak. But Yaoang Valley's medical skills are amazing, and they have seen this kind of symptoms many times. It is not difficult to treat it. It's just that Nangongyin and the others are at a too high level, so they need to spend more time. Yu Tangzi also planned to discuss how to cooperate with Nangongyin after he regained his consciousness. Because of their relatively neutral relationship, the Yaluo demon sect does not speak very loudly in the Yasha realm. But with the addition of the demon seal section, then the demon refining tower is completely isolated from the world, and this matter will be simple. You, take me back to Yunzhou. After leaving the demon moon forest, Zhu Feng suddenly asked, feeling a sense of emptiness in his body, and he was still a little uncomfortable with it. Zhu Yun asked back, if you don't go back to Yunzhou, where else can you go back? Zhu Feng thought that this was indeed the case, Lingjian sect. No, Barren Rock Mountain. Hearing this, Zhu Feng's pupils shrank suddenly, but then he smiled bitterly and said, are you afraid that I will continue to practice swordsmanship? I have already ruined it. I want to practice swordsmanship just because of my guilt towards the master. Since if you reject me, then I don't have to practice anymore and just go back to Barren Stone Mountain. Zhu Yun shook his head and said, I'm sending you back to Barren Stone Mountain just to take you to see your father. When you left without saying goodbye, do you know how much they suffered? As for practicing swordsmanship, you can practice it if you want, no one can stop you. All of the 3,000 paths in the world can become immortals. Anyone without spiritual roots can practice, but you are just ruined. Furthermore, swordsmanship, if you can do it. With the determination I had after acquiring the magic devouring skill, I hope I can embark on the path to immortality in the future. Am I okay? Hearing Zhu Yun's words, Zhu Feng fell into deep thought. To be honest, Sun Qiniang was not a good master. After she accepted Zhu Yun as her disciple for Zhu Yun's sake, she just gave him all the sword techniques and sword steps of Wanjian Mountain and let him practice on his own. Although Zhu Feng has been using the devouring demon technique to improve his realm over the years, he started practicing swordplay after Ping, and he still memorized all the sword techniques in his bones. Sword, let's practice it. Even if you don't know how to do it, it's good to keep fit. Dad must be over 60, and he will soon know his destiny. And mother, she is so good to me, but I can't fulfill my filial piety. Zhu Feng murmured to himself, having already made a decision in his heart. It'll be good if you figure it out. If you can still embark on the path of immortality, go to Lingjian sect to find Ruyu. I will let her know then, and it may be helpful to you. Thank you, brother. Zhu Feng stood up tremblingly and bowed to Zhu Yun. Zhu Yun had mixed feelings, hugged Zhu Feng and said, why are you so polite? We are brothers. However, we have different paths between immortals and mortals. You have to know that it's not that I didn't help you, but that I was afraid of harming you at the time. Now more than 10 years have passed, and I think this is a good training for your character. Fortunately, you can survive, and I have survived too. Remember, keep your Taoist heart, then this is just a stumbling block on your path to immortality. I remember. Zhu Feng nodded solemnly. He really took Zhu Yun's words to heart. After saying these words, they had already flown through the fog between the two realms and arrived at the Peeper realm. Next, Zhu Yun plans to reach Chezhu from Shiwanda Mountain, then go around the sea from Chenan and fly directly to Huangshi Mountain. At the same time, Nangong Yin and others also woke up faintly. Under the dedicated treatment of everyone in Yaoang Valley and taking some elixirs, their injuries have healed, but it will still take some time to fully recover. Elder Yu, I have offended you so much before, please forgive me. After experiencing life and death, Nangong Yin seemed to have seen through everything. The first moment he opened his eyes, he apologized to Yu Tangzi. Yu Tangzi nodded secretly in his heart. He could take it up and put it down. No wonder Nangong Yin could become the number one figure in the Yusha realm. Master Nangong, you're welcome. You and I are of the same mind, and with Xiu'er's connection, we will naturally understand that you are anxious for your daughter. Elder Yu is so generous, Nangong Yin is convinced. Nangong Yin stood up and held his hands in his hands. After thanking him, he turned back to look at Nangong Tingfeng and Xiu'er who were not far away. After seeing that they were fine, his face couldn't help but be ecstatic. Tingfeng, Xiu'er, it's great that you are all right. Nangong Yin stepped forward and held his two daughters tightly in his arms. All the elders of the Nangong family sighed. The head of the family has changed his temper, which may be a good thing for the Nangong family and the Demon Seal sect. Yaoang Valley Master also laughed at this moment, stood up and said, Elder Yu, it's time to get down to business. Okay, Yu Tangzi smiled slightly. Seeing that Nangong Yin also turned back, he explained what they had discussed. In order to make Nangong Yin understand, he even told the horror of the demon refining tower, and they spent so much effort to solve the problem. Nangong Yin was covered in cold sweat. He didn't expect that he almost ruined the big thing, so he couldn't help but said quickly, this is related to the danger of the entire Yusha realm, I must do my best. But for this trip, I am coming as the head of the Nangong family, the Demon Seal section Bien, we can't arrange for anyone to come at the moment. Ha ha ha, Patriarch, we old guys have been tired of staying in the clan for thousands of years. Why don't we just stay outside the Demon Moon Forest and be hunters for decades? Nangong Yin was overjoyed when he heard that his uncles were so considerate. Thanks to you uncles, my nephew will definitely come over to visit from time to time. It doesn't matter, the third elder looked at Yu Tangzi and smiled and said, Elder Yu just said that she would also ask some people from Yalodo Demon Sect and Yalodo City to come over, so that we can discuss the Tao together. The second elder sneered and said, Third brother, I think you have been lonely in the clan for thousands of years, and I know that there are female cultivators from the Yalodo demon section. Ha ha ha, Yu Tangzi couldn't help laughing and said, if the three elders don't dislike the age of the supreme elder of Yalodo demon sect, you can match them up. It can be considered as a time when life is running out. Feel the double sushuanki. Xiu'er blushed when she heard it, not only her uncles, but also Yu Tangzi. I have lived for thousands of years, can I be steady? Xiu'er spat in her heart and thought. Compared with the harmonious atmosphere outside the tower, Matai and others inside the tower are not so relaxed. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzwan Xianxia. Chapter 750. A few days later, Zhu Yun finally flew into the Shiwen mountain. Brother, I didn't expect that Peeper Realm could directly use the Shiwanda mountain to come to Chezhu. Zhu Feng said with a sigh. The world is so big, it's beyond our imagination. When you were in Barren Stone Mountain, did you know how big Yunzhou was? After leaving Yunzhou, do you know how big Yao Realm is? There are also Peeper Realm, Yusha Realm, and Dongsheng Realm. Not to mention say, you came back from the Wild Sea. Hearing Zhu Yun mention Yusha Realm, Zhu Feng couldn't help but ask, Brother, I heard one of the seniors say before that you want to go to Dongsheng Realm. That place is the territory of demon cultivators, and you went there. Are you afraid something will happen to me? Zuyun interrupted him with a relaxed expression and said with a smile, "It doesn't matter, I have my own sense of propriety, but you should teach me well after returning to Barren Stone Mountain. If there is a chance, I can use the sword to understand the Tao, maybe we can still do it in the future we can meet." "I know, brother." Zhu Feng lowered his head. His temperament changed drastically. He was still a little reserved in front of Zuyun, but the grudge between the two brothers had been resolved, so nothing was unjustifiable. At the same time, he secretly clenched his fists. "I wish Feng that since he can cultivate to the nascent soul stage, then I can definitely return to the state by enlightening myself with the sword. Just think that the previous experience of being a demon cultivator was just a dream." Right, speaking of Dongsheng realm, Zuyun suddenly thought of the nightmare demon over there. At the same time, he also remembered what the Medicine King Valley Master had told him. The nine-tailed demon fox was also driven out of Dongsheng realm by the nightmare demon's jealousy. "I thought that when I went to Dongsheng realm, I could find out some information from them, and maybe I would gain something. Brother will take you to a good place." Zuyun smiled slightly and flew towards the demon fox mountain with the magic weapon at his feet. At the same time, outside the demon refining tower, the monks from the three parties not only recovered from their injuries, but also reached a consensus on guarding the demon refining tower in the future. The most unexpected thing is that the Medicine King Valley Master decided to establish a sect outside the Demon Moon Forest, instead of hiding in the mountains as before. This surprised Nangongyan and Yu Tangzi. In the words of Medicine King Valley Master, doctors are benevolent. Staying here can prevent anyone from accidentally entering the Demon Moon Forest and getting injured or even losing their life. With such a big heart, even Yu Tangzi felt ashamed, but she also sent Luo Yanran back to Yaluo City to let some Yuan Yinki who were running out of life come here. When the people from Yaluo City arrived, Nangongyan also left a group of clan uncles behind, and then he followed Yu Tangzi and others back to Yaluo City. He wanted to talk to his two daughters as much as possible when he returned to the Demon Seal sect. And after everything was prepared, in the Demon Refining Tower, the evil thoughts finally laughed maniacally. After his careful arrangements, he finally captured Matai. However, Matai's spiritual power has been almost exhausted and his muscles and bones have been injured. It will probably take a long time to return to his peak. But this has already given evil thoughts hope. After devouring the remaining nascent soul stages of the devouring demon sect one after another, evil thought stepped into the black pool and slowly closed his eyes. "My saint, I finally don't have to be in that black ball. Someone's body feels really good." After saying that, he fell into a deep sleep. As long as he wakes up, not only can he leave the tower, but he can also directly use Matai's body to refine the demon refining tower into his own magic weapon. When the time comes, he will return to the spirit world and fight towards the outer world. You all must die. Is there Demon Fox Mountain ahead? It was the first time for Zhu Feng to go so deep into the 100,000 mountains. He walked alone for thousands of miles. After letting go of his obsession, he could finally appreciate the miraculous craftsmanship of nature. Yes, that's the one in front. I almost died here back then. Zuyun smiled indifferently, landed at the bottom of the Demon Fox Mountain, and then said loudly, "Senior Fox King, is he here?" "My little boy, Zuyun, is here to visit with his brother." The voice was still echoing in the mountains, and a ray of silver light suddenly fell in front of him. "Zuyun? Have you done something good? It's the Fox King." After landing, he looked at Zuyun and saw that he looked extremely relaxed, so he asked aloud. "Yes, Senior. This trip went well. I was about to return to Yunzhou. When passing by here, I wanted to see Senior and ask him some questions," Zuyun said with great respect. At this time, he was not afraid of the Fox King. But he felt that he was the same generation as Qiuqi, so the Fox King was the elder. This is the respect he deserves for his elders. It doesn't matter if you're here, Xiaoqi is also back. When the Fox King turned around, he suddenly smiled again and said, by the way, there is also an old acquaintance of yours who may give you a little surprise. Acquaintance. When Zuyun learned that Qiuqi was back, he was overjoyed at first, but when he heard what the Fox King said later, he couldn't help but be stunned. He still has acquaintances in Shiwandashan? Where did it come from? But seeing that the Demon Fox King was showing off, he stopped asking and just followed the Demon Fox King into the mountain. Zhu Feng followed Zuyun cautiously. At this time, he had no spiritual power. If he met a little fox with no eyes and scratched him, he might die. Zuyun, I'm curious, you yourself are a pill-forming monk, why is your brother still just immortal? After the Demon Fox King took the two people into a cave, he stopped and asked. Zuyun smiled and said, Senior, there are thousands of Tao in the world. My brother's Tao is naturally different from mine. The Fox King nodded, pointed to the depths of the cave, and said, Xiaoqi has been talking about you for a long time. You can talk to her first, and I will take care of your brother for the time being. By the way, there is also your acquaintance. I will inform her first. Zuyun bowed and said, Thank you, Senior. I will ask you for some information later. I hope you don't hide it. As long as it has nothing to do with my Fox clan and I know it, there is nothing to hide. Seeing that the Fox King readily agreed, Zuyun let Zhu Feng rest assured and went deep into the cave. As for the acquaintance, Zuyun had some guesses, but he was not sure. Not long after walking, Zuyun felt a familiar breath and carefully used the Breaking Void Spirit Eye technique. He saw a curled-up silver fox at the bottom of the cave. If it wasn't Qiuqi, who else? He chuckled and turned into a metal spirit, flying lightly to Qiuqi's side, and then suddenly shouted, Xiaoqi, get up, the sun is shining on your butt. The space here is not big, and Zuyun deliberately shouted, which immediately startled Qiuqi to jump up from the stone bed. When she saw Zuyun in the form of a metal spirit, she couldn't help but shout with joy, Iron Man, it's you. Yes, it's me. Zuyun smiled and said, I've finished my work, and I came back through the 10,000 mountains. I just happened to have something to do, so I came to see you by the way. You still have a conscience. Qiuqi rolled down from the bed with his tail shaking, and said, by the way, are there any of our people in Peeper Realm? Zuyun was slightly stunned, shook his head, and said, I don't know, as far as I know, there should be no more, right? After saying this, the man and the fox fell silent. No, they are all dead. After a long while, Qiuqi said, forget it, this matter cannot be forced, and my father did not say anything. Some time ago, I heard that Peeper Realm was in chaos, and all the Yuanying cultivators ran to Yasha Realm. I don't know if it is true or not. My father is preparing to go to Peeper Realm quietly to see if there are any clansmen. Zuyun was surprised and said, you are in the 10,000 mountains, and you can know the news there. Qiuqi disagreed and said, I also heard it from my father. By the way, have you seen Aunt Tang? Aunt Tang. Zuyun's eyebrows jumped, and he immediately said, Aunt Tang took you back to the Shiwan Mountains. Yes, Aunt Tang finally got the eye-healing elixir, and she had nowhere to go, so my father asked her to stay here to heal her. She just came out of retreat a few days ago, but her eyes are better now. Zuyun was surprised and happy, and said to Qiuqi, then I'll go see Aunt Tang as soon as possible, I just have something to ask her. After saying that, he turned and left. Qiuqi hurriedly followed, saying, I'll go with you, Tai Han Han, no one can find Aunt Tang's place except me and my father. Zuyun nodded repeatedly, quickly turned back into human form, and Qiuqi took the opportunity to get into his arms. One man and one fox quickly ran out of the cave. Not long after, they were already standing at the place where they parted with the demon fox king. Here, there was a corridor leading to the depths of another cave. At Qiu Qi's signal, Zuyun turned around. After running for a long time, a bright light appeared in front of him. Zuyun took a big step and went away, but the scene in front of him suddenly went dark. Warm reminder, if you find that clicking the next page will force you to jump to other websites, please use the chapter error or contact us at the bottom to inform us. We will handle it as soon as possible. Thank you for your understanding.